Hey, this is Ian Cook with Alvadine Consulting. Welcome to the Cosmic Water Closet. Let's read some tarot cards.
Okay, today is February the 4th. A little odd with that one. Okay. Today's intention is consistency. So, consistency, how we're showing up, how we're practicing, how we are not just with others, but with ourselves. How can we continue to show up in ways that are good, honor our values, honor our strengths, and enable us to make some changes, potentially, or grow. And so, thinking on consistency, as we're shuffling the deck, thinking what does it look like when we're consistent, when were times in the past where we were consistent. I feel like I'm consistent when I'm showing up for other people and trying to create a safe and supported environment when I'm working with people one-on-one, day-to-day. They benefit from that consistency. I benefit from that consistency. Structure, showing up. I need a loose structure. But some sort of structure is good for me. I can't just have nothing. That's just not sustainable, at least in my experience. So, yes, how can I keep showing up? And as I'm shuffling the deck here, I'm saying my mantra internally. The mantra said with each shuffle, as I pull from the middle, go out to the top of the bottom. And then having thought of these things, having thought of consistency, having thought of what that means, I'll split the deck and then sit with it for a moment. And as I sit with this, I notice things in my body. I try to be in tune with what's happening internally. And there's some sort of energetic shift, typically, or something moving somewhere that I try to follow. So today, that took me to the right. Okay, so High Priestess inverted. And when reading cards, I think of the card as one whole thing. It's kind of two sides of the same coin, two sides of the same card. But I do consider, since it did appear inverted, what might that look like, or what might that do for me in terms of my practice? Maybe there's an extra insight from it being inverted, but generally I'll think of the whole card just as practice. So. So here we have the High Priestess, Spirit, feminine, motherly, balanced between black and white, these pillars, holding sacred texts, hidden meanings. Got the crescent moon down there, stars above. And so what might the High Priestess mean in terms of consistency for us? Let's see what's in the manual. So here we have the High Priestess. Intuition, instinct, clairvoyance, silent wisdom, accepting duality, take time to contemplate the situation at hand, profound truth that's not generally seen or acknowledged. And then here we have the reversed meaning, inverted, out of touch with intuitive senses, secretive, holding back, too passive or quiet, weak passivity. So what could that mean in relation to consistency? Potentially taking time to follow instinct, intuition, silent wisdom, sitting with what we know, not trying to be too vocal about it, but holding those truths within us. They don't always have to be seen or acknowledged, but they can be held within the person. And since it was inverted, what could these maybe mean? Out of touch with intuitive senses, secretive or holding back, too passive or quiet. Maybe when we're not in touch with intuitive senses, that's inconsistency. Maybe when we can show up day to day and be in tune with ourselves and who we are and what we're doing, maybe that can help bring consistency. Take time to contemplate the situation at hand. Maybe that would help us be a little more consistent if we are thoughtful and mindful of the process and engaged in the process, participating in it. And so let's record these. When the card appears inverted, I usually like to start with the inverted meaning, just to hold it up at the top. Touch with intuitive senses. Secretive or holding back. Maybe if we didn't hold back and we were open with ourselves and with our intuitive senses, maybe that might enable some consistency in who we are and how we practice and how we show up. Too passive and quiet. Weak passivity. And so at least in my experience, as I'm thinking of these, I'm thinking of trying to be more open and sharing and in tune with my intuitive senses. I've maybe been passive in the past, maybe a little too quiet. And so that has kind of helped, or not helped, but that's kind of held back some of my ability to share, my ability to process in an open space, engage others in this process of creativity, contemplation, meditation, expression. I find myself recently wanting to share more and create, make. And so I feel like I've been working on my own personal path and my own practice in solitude. And that's been very valuable for me to, as a hermit might enter a cave, do some learning, try some experimentation, try this intentional way of being, and in such a way that I feel like I've done that for the past few years, and it's served me well, and I feel like I've learned a lot. And so now me shifting into a more consistent way of sharing and being open and out in the world, sharing what I've known so that I can maybe participate in this whole larger system of whatever this thing is that we're in. So here, when we have the High Priestess, let's try to get her. So, just trying to get the image of her and some symbols. And she can sit and maybe guide us to think, how can we show up consistently in terms of spirit, in terms of being in touch with intuition, and this thing of practice. What does it mean to maybe look at the intuitive, feminine, and how she can serve us? It's a larger process of creativity. Staying balanced between the duality of the two pillars. Maybe in touch with the moon. It's light. And then to stay balanced. Getting images of stars above, and the moon being an intuitive feminine energy. Excuse the rough hands. So how can we think maybe of a High Priestess and how she would behave, conduct herself in this manner? How would she approach consistency in practice, being, and seeing and acting, being in touch and in tune with, again, our intuitive senses, silent wisdom, trying to learn and then sit with it and be with it. Just in practice. So, High Priestess. Inverted. There we go.
And so again, looking at our intention for today, we were looking into consistency. What does that mean maybe in terms of how we're showing up, maybe with this High Priestess inverted, thinking in terms of being in touch with our intuitive senses, not being secretive, not holding back, maybe trying to be more open to share and participate in this larger thing that we're existing in, taking time to contemplate the situation at hand. Maybe in this contemplation, we can find a little more consistency in who we are, how we are, Maybe there's a profound truth that's not generally seen or acknowledged that we can try to hold within ourselves, that we can try to bring about into our actions in the world and who we are and how we are. Maybe in a sense of being out of touch of intuitive senses, maybe that leads to inconsistency. Maybe it would help us to be more in tune with who we are, how we are, trusting our gut, trusting the different intelligences that are within us in terms of our intuitive sense, how we feel, and how our body can maybe lead us and guide us into different ways. And so my name is Ian Cook with Alvadine Consulting. This was the Cosmic Water Closet. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for entering the space with me and engaging with games and stories. Please like or subscribe or follow for more health and wellness, holistic care, exploring creative expression as a way to help deal with our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual dimensions. So, again, High Priestess. Thank you. Bye.